Welcome back to this channel once again, and in this session I would be covering our next sets of interview questions, which are 20 in number, and this is the part 6 video. So without wasting any time, I would be moving towards the questions. So let's discuss the questions. The first question is, when do we use CLOF command? So this command is used in the CL program to close any file. So how do we open that file? So whenever a file is open with the open query file command, query file command, and open dbf command, open database file command. So whenever the file is open with these two commands, we need to use CLOF command to close that file. Question 2, is there any similarity between the commands allocate object and check object? So both commands do the same job, that is checking the object existence first, but allocate object does something more than that. It allocates the object to that job or that process. What does dspPGMREF do? It lists out all the objects, used in a program. Why can't retrieve commands be used on the command line? Because we need a variable to retrieve some data, output return value from the retrieve commands. So they can only be executed from the CL program. Even from RPG we cannot call the retrieve commands. Is recursion allowed on CL programs? Yes, we can call the CL program within that CL program. Do all the object referred to in a CL program needs to exist at the time of the CL program compilation? So I would say yes or no, both. For some objects it is not required, and for some objects it is required. So I would be telling you the objects which are required, like files must exist during the compilation, and the command as well must exist during the compilation. So if these two objects are not existed, then we won't be able to compile our CL program. What is the difference between continuing a source statement with a plus sign and a minus sign on the next line? So we saw that whenever we left with no space on the right on a single line, then we need to write the extra line into the next line using the plus or minus sign. So we basically use the plus sign, we never use the minus sign. So plus sign means we are not including the spaces at the left from the on the next line, but minus sign means we are including the spaces till the minus sign from the next line. So basically if I write a plus space, or for example a plus space b, so it would be treating this as ab. But if I would be writing a space minus, for example a minus, or I would be using this on a minus b 1 2 3, so it would be including those spaces coming before that minus sign. So this is the main important difference between them. That's why we always use the plus sign. We won't going for the minus sign, but in some and at some places it is required to use the minus sign. It is required to have some spaces in the data. So based upon the requirement, we can go with any of them. What are the different ways to pass data between programs? So there are different ways to pass data between the program. I would say parameters first, because we basically use the parameters to pass data from one program to another. Then we use the data areas. We would be populating the data area, and then we are using that data area within multiple program. And then I would say message queue. We would be sending messages through the message queue from one program to the another. And the data queue. And the file. So which one is the most efficient way? I would go for this one. The data queue is the most efficient way to pass data between the programs, because you can send the data to a data queue at any time, and then some program or some other process may take that data from that data queue, may receive that data from the data queue. So in this case, the program may end, but the data would be residing in the data queue and till some point of time, and then it would be captured or received from some other process. So in this case, your program does not have to be active at all the time to pass the data between the programs. To view the program source, we generally use option 2 and or 5 option on PDM. Is there any other way to do it? So work member PDM. So I'm either using option 2 to edit this, or I'm using option 5 to browse this. So any other way is I can do the DSPPGM on rpgle is the source file, and this is my current library, my easy class 1 or easy class 1, and the member would be pf20. Just say yes, I can access the source member using this command. So I would say dspppgm command can be used to achieve this. The RUNQRY command displays the records, but it is not possible to find a particular string in the file records, as the find option is not provided. Is there any way out? Yes. Just go for RUNQRY command, take F4. For example, I am looking for pf20 data in that library, current library. I can mark this option record select as yes, take and pressing enter. Now here you can see I can select the records. So based on identity, name, address 1 and address 2, just pressing enter will give me that result. So we need to set the record select option as star yes. So this would be file name. Can I pass a numeric variable for the call to a program from command line? Yes. But how? Because many of us find it difficult to pass numeric values from the command line, and many of us may be not knowing this, how we can do this. So yes, we can pass this. We have to pass the hex value from command line. So I will be making one separate video on this, that how we can pass a numeric value to the command from the command line to the program call for various values of decimals. So I'll be clearing you out each and everything there. So just wait for that video within maybe tomorrow or maybe day after tomorrow. Maybe I would be preparing that video for you. Just for the time being, just move on to the next question. But I would say here, if I want to pass a data, for example, I want to pass 25. So what I'll be doing is I would be passing that as hexadecimal, so I would be prefixing it as X and then quotes, then 0 to 5, then quotes, then F is suffixed. I can pass like this. So if I'm passing an even number, I would have to prefix 0 as well. And if I'm passing, for example, 251, what I would be doing, I would be using X 251 F. So I would be passing the hexadecimal values like this. So in this case, if we have odd numbers, we can pass the numbers directly and we don't have to prefix the number with 0 in that case. So this way we can pass the hex values from command line to the called program. So that's all. What command can be used to clear a physical file? So the answer would be clear pfm. As much as simple. Is it possible to have different descriptions for a source and its objects? Yes. So you can see the source description is this one. If I'm gonna creating this again, just take F14 here, F10, I can provide the text here. So the text is different for the object, not for the source. So once I change the text here, it would be for the object. So once I would do work object, I would be seeing the different text. But if I would be looking into the source, I would be seeing this text. So this is related with the objects only. Can I use copy file command for copying a logical file? Answer is yes, but it would create a PF instead of LF. So whenever we are copying a file or we are creating a logical file out of logical file, we should be using the create duplicate object command. How can I know the dependent logical files on a physical file? So a physical file may have one or more than one dependent. So we have command dspdbr, display database relationships. So this command can be used to list out all the dependent LFs on a physical file. Can I know the record count in a file using the RUNQRY command? Answer is yes. Just remove this, just take F4. So we have output form, just make it summary, just press enter. So you can see the count is 1, total is 1. So yes, we can using outform star summary parameter. Outform parameter is star summary, and here I would be giving the file name. Can I select record from a file based on certain criterion using RUNQRY command? Answer is yes. So we need to set this record select as star yes. I can select the records from here. The system creates a job log when it is idle long enough and the system logs the user out. But how can I have this created all the time? That is whenever user signs out. So whenever a user sign off to the system, what I would do, just write sign off, take F4, and here we have option star no list. So if I make it a star list, just take F1 here, the job log is spooled for printing along with the jobs. The remaining is spooled output. So if I use this, the job log will be spooled and a printer file would be generated. So we need to look for that job. So let me check with work user job. Since that job is no more in the system, we have to write down the job information before doing this. So this is the important thing which we should take care of. So we have command sign off and then a star list, shift F2. How can we achieve this? We can achieve this by using this. Is it possible to use SQL in CL programs? Yes, sure. We can do this by using run SQL STM command. Define a batch job. Now we know that we submit the batch jobs using the submit job command, but what actually batch job is, we need to define that here. So I would be defining that batch job is, so first thing what user do, user just submit the job using the submit job command. So user is requesting to create a job because that batch job gets created by the system once I perform submit job. So user request for the job, that is a batch job. Then what happens? The job gets created and job gets the job name, attributes which are like username or other things, and job number. Job names gets assigned to this, attributes gets allocated to this, and once this job gets created, then what happened? This job is placed on a job queue. Job placed on a job queue. When the job is placed on a job queue, then what happens? And in which job queue it gets placed? It is placed in the queue batch subsystem job queue. Job queue in which subsystem means it's queue batch subsystem. So subsystem queue batch takes the job from the job queue and starts it. So for interactive jobs it is Quinter, and there would be some other spool subsystems as well, SPL subsystems. So subsystem queue match takes the job from the job queue and then it starts it, and the output, for example, some output gets generated. generated from the process batch job, and it is then placed on the output queue, that is out queue. Then what happens? Spool subsystem takes the charge and print the output on the output queue. So this is the full definition of a batch job. So first the user requests the batch job using the submit job command. Job gets created, job name gets assigned, attributes gets assigned to that job. This job gets placed on the job queue. Once that job is placed on the job queue, it waits for its turn to get started. So now the role of subsystems came into the picture. Subsystem queue batch, which is for the batch jobs. So subsystem queue batch takes the job from the job queue and starts it, and then whatever the output gets generated from that batch job program, and then that output is placed on the output queue. Once the output is placed on the output queue, then it waits for its turn to get printed. So now another subsystem, a spool subsystem, came into picture, and that prints the output on the output queue. So that's all for batch job. This is the whole scenario of a batch job. So I think I covered all of the 20 questions with the explanations. So that's all in this video. Thank you and have a nice time.